All right, well, we'll forget about the Hardy
Yeah.
Boys then. Um, so what's the best way to get started as a children's writer or illustrator? What's a good way to get into the field?
There's actually a couple different ways. I would definitely recommend joining our national organization and attending either a local conference for your area, and if you don't have one, to go to one of our national events.
Okay.
It's a great way to get your feet wet, to learn. There are several books out there that you can read, but go to meetings, talk to other writers, and keep taking courses, I think, to further your writing.
What's the next national conference? When is that, and where is
It'll
that?
be in New York.
New York?
It'll be either in January, beginning of February.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the winter conference in New York and summer conference in LA. You'd think they'd be back.
Yeah, that does seem odd. It seems like another example of writers wanting to suffer
Yeah.
in order to further their craft. Well, tell me about the effect of new media or digital media on children's literature. Tell me about how it's consumed. For example, are kids looking at books differently? Are they reading things online now? How do things like the Kindle, how's that impacted your group?
It's definitely changed in a lot of variety of ways. Just from a business perspective, you used to have like your hardback rights and your paperback rights and maybe some foreign rights. But now you've got your audio rights, your iTunes, your Kindle rights, your all just, so there's subsequent avenues for revenue for the writers in having these different multimedias as well. In terms of the kids, I don't know of any children that still use Kindles, but if you go to the Upper Arlington Library, they actually let you check out e-readers.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that, when did you ever think that that would ever happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and check them out. But
Has your group had a monthly meeting discussing Kindles and e-readers like that, or is that something in the future?
we have, and I think we're all still devoted to our paper. There's something about, you hear writers and there's something about smelling a book. The way
I've
it
heard
smells,
that so many
the
times.
texture of it.
It always makes me expect to go into a bookstore and see writers sniffing books, and because it seems to me that they smell sort of the same, but not to
Yeah,
writers.
not to writers.
Maybe they have a better
There's
sense of
something.
smell.
The
yeah.
texture of them. We still love
tactile.
our books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how is it playing a part in new media? How's it playing a part in how children's literature is produced? I'm assuming that a lot more people are doing things online, like picture books. They're doing that through a computer now instead of hand drawing it.
Correct.
Or they're doing the coloring through that, just because it's easier to send things up. What kind of things like that are your members involved in?
There's actually a couple of publishers that are e-only,
Mhm.
so you would just buy the book and download and read it. There's also now a website called Snippets, and for 99 cents basically you can buy these short little stories that you can just download to your iPod,
Mm.
which is really nice as well. So that's another avenue for our writers. They do have a tween and teen section for YA. So that's another way to kind of get your feet wet with the short stories.
It must be hard to read on an iPod, though. I mean, I can see
Yeah, well,
maybe.
you listen to them. They're read.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah, they're
I was
read,
under
yeah.
the.
No,
Okay,
they're
so it's
read for you.
audiobooks.
They're
I was just saying,
audio.
that's a tiny screen.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about you as a writer.
Okay.
What's the best part about being a writer for you?
I think just to be able to invent something and create something, create these little worlds with all these twists and turns, and how you can link them together, but make them, especially for me since I write mystery, is not to lead the reader on one path that I wanted to. I want them to go down somewhere different first.
Well, tell me about how you've done this in a recent book. What's your most recent title?
I've written a novel that's being shopped right now called Shattered Veil, and it deals with teen domestic violence, which now, it's interesting, when I first started researching my book, it was 1 in 4 young women is in an abusive relationship. Now it's 1 in 3. So my murder mystery is about a 16-year-old girl who basically comes upon the body of her dead sister. And she is kind of a FBI wannabe profiler. That's her one goal in life. And she uses her passion for forensics and math to help solve her sister's murder.
What's the protagonist's name?
Autumn Covarrubias.
Oh.
It is set in Texas.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
well that's interesting. Why that doesn't sound like a particularly Texan name.
Yeah. So she's got her last name, but her Americanized first name, which tends to happen sometimes in the Latin community.
Okay.
And it is heavy with kind of the Hispanic family.
Okay. You know, I thought that
Yeah.
was Greek, actually. When you
Yeah.
said that, it
No,
sounded more.
Covarrubias.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about what's the worst part about being a writer?
because you're so passionate and you love your stories, and to get rejections, whether you're querying or negative critiques, just having that, I think people not being as passionate about your work as you are.
How have you been dealing with that? Do you have your rejections up in your office?
Oh yeah, throwing darts at them.
Mm-hmm.
No, what I really appreciate is somebody takes the time to tell you why they rejected it.
Okay.
It can be a simple couple words, voice didn't resonate with me, or plot wasn't feasible. Just when they jot down little tidbits for writers, I think those are golden, to let you know why, so it's something that you can work on.
Have you had a lot of experiences where those rejections match up with friends or readers' takes on it, and then you go
And
back
you've
to that
ignored
reader?
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably happens to everybody, because it is, your story gets too personal sometimes, and you're not listening. And that's one of the things when we do our critiques, we have kind of a set of rules. You know, you need to be open to the critiques and the feedback, but ultimately you're the writer and you decide what you want to do.
Okay. What other rules do you have for the critiques? That's one.
Definitely you have to mention the positive. There's no story that has not some kind of inkling of something positive, especially if you're dealing with a new writer. This is their first critique. You definitely want to help to guide them. You're there to mentor and to guide, not to squash somebody's dream.
Do you notice that changing as you go along? When somebody's, say, been published a couple times, do you feel more open to, say, heavier duty critiques? Or do you still try to cling to, well, give them one positive thing, one negative thing, or do you have a ratio?
It's hard because sometimes, I mean, I'm sure you've read 2 books, you're like, I can't believe this is published. You know, but that happens. And so some of that, you just have to say, I recognize these key things that I know, you know, just in books and craft books that they say try not to avoid. But you will see it even in published books today. Yeah.
What do you do? Do you hold that up and yell and go show somebody? Is that a victorious moment for you?
Next to my rejection letter?
Yeah, you said, see, they did this.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you used the word Stephanie Meyer in association with that, because I
Yeah, I
certainly
don't.
wouldn't. Yeah, you got that here first. She said it. But what's the best writing job you've had? What's the one that you've enjoyed the most, or the thing that you've enjoyed most while you're writing?
I think it's just listening to my characters sometimes, and sometimes I'm just writing down what they tell me. And I think, and those are kind of like little magical moments, kind of the muse is working, I think, at that point, when you're just kind of eavesdropping on your characters and you're just writing it down, as opposed to you forcing the story.
How do you tell the difference between that and just voices in your head?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. They
don't call my name. Yeah, they don't answer.
You know, they're just talking to each other in their head, but you're not involved.
Just,
Okay, well that's good.
Or sometimes they will. They'll go, you know what? I'm not going down this way. And they just the story just doesn't come, and the plot point was wrong. And
What do you do then?
Just gotta wait and listen.
Okay.
Explore avenues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So oftentimes people come up to you and you've got your ear sort of cocked, waiting for them to come
Just
back
go,
and talk
come
to
on,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't come when you want. They have their own timetable.
Do you have certain writing habits that you adhere to, certain superstitions maybe, that you will only write at a certain time, or only on a certain computer?
No, I'm a single parent, so I write a lot during my lunch hour at work. But I try to research and stuff at night. But doing mysteries, that can be kind of morbid.
What are you researching that's morbid? Where
for
have you gone?
example, right now I'm starting my new book, and there's a mobster in it, so researching some mob stuff. Some of that's pretty disturbing.
Where do you go for that? Is it the internet-based stuff? Or
Yeah, there's actually, which is nice, is I can't remember what channel it's on right now. Maybe it's a biography. It's having a series on mobsters right now.
See, I always wondered why they did that, and it's just for you. It's
just for me
that
right now.
mobster.
It was very, very nice of them to accommodate my book.
Well,
Yeah.
that would allow you to go to that new Johnny Depp movie,
I went to
Public
that.
Enemies,
Yeah.
and maybe you can get a write-off from.
Wouldn't it be great if he was in my movie?
Yeah, it's something to look forward to.